why I said what I did about Otis specifically. The facade that he gives across is evident in moments when he first meets Marcos, and there's the smell of vomit on his breath, and when he has to go to their first training session and he's panicked because he can't find his shoes. Like, that doesn't read as confident as he was trying to present himself when he first entered the room. That's kind of what I was getting at. It came to me a little late.
Feel like he's a fraud.
Yeah, a little bit, just for now. I feel like he has more personality than he's allowing others to see, because he has to come off hardened in this military-esque training regimen.
I can't wait till this book. Well, honestly, it's not till installment 3 that you really, I mean, you see the growth in each installment for these characters, but it's installment 3 where you see him live a life. How do I put this? You see him try to pick up his life in the new environment that he finds himself in. Like, what does that look like? 300 years in the future, which is where everyone's going, right? What if you were not associated with the military and you just had to pick up and live? Mm-hmm. That is what you experience that for everyone, but I sincerely can't wait till you guys experience that for Otis.
Cool.
But Otis, let me tell you about Otis's abilities. So again, I want to start with Rogue Scholar. He is the smartest in this group.
Great.
And I mean that in a book sense. There's not too much he can't pick up. He is someone who I won't call it insecurity, but he's pragmatic in a sense that he knows, what, I prefer a shield and a sword than crossbow and whatever, and he can justify why in the scene that he's in for whatever reason. He is that kind of person. It makes the most sense in the world for him to do whatever he's doing in that moment. He is that guy. And his abilities change because he's figuring out what he wants to be really good at. Everyone has the ability to grasp a form of the, let's call it magic. So it's spoken word, written word, and then mindful creations. And those are simply, you have symbols, you have it verbally, and then you don't need either. It comes from your mind, and that's how the magic takes off. Well, the way I've broken down the magic system, you can either be an enhancer, a conjurer, or a possessor. Usually it's one of those three. One of those three you're going to be the most gifted at. You're able to touch an aspect of those three categories, but you're going to fit into one of them as far as what you lean most towards in the dominant side of your abilities. And that doesn't mean you can't specialize in something completely different. That is just, think of it as a, what do you call it? You have a focus. And Otis's focus is biology, protection, and mindful creation. So you start to see that, all right, through his, it's trying to balance between what I tell you, what I don't tell you. But what you learn from Otis is that he's trying to protect himself at all costs. So you see him go through being able to conjure shields, conjure weapons that he thinks he needs in the moment in which he needs it. And then you realize, wow, that costs a lot of energy. Are you able to be that adaptive when you don't really know if you can survive whatever event that you're in that moment, and then whatever happens after that moment? Mm-hmm. And so Otis, what I've landed on is that he becomes a transmutationist. And a transmutationist meaning, how many of you are familiar with Mortal Kombat? Nope. Not your world, Patrick. That's okay. That's okay. Well, Gura is a character in Mortal Kombat that has 4 arms. Mm. I was thinking about that character when I was thinking about Otis, and that Otis realizes, you know what? There should be two of me. That way I can always protect my back. But realistically, that's not possible. So, well, it is in this world, but for him, it's not. So I'll give myself more arms so I can wield more weapons or do XYZ with them. So I'll learn how to do that. That's his thought process. It's like, okay, what do I need to do to be effective? Make sure I survive at all costs. I need to harden my skin. I need to be able to grow in bulk. I need to be fast because I'm bulky. That's how he thinks. And you start to see that it unravels in this story as I share Otis's background. Oh, and his background before he enlisted, he's a retired NFL player. He retired early.
Thanks.
You know, that was in his 20s. In his 30s, he decided, you know what, I want to save the body. And you start to learn that, oh, well, during that time, Otis's family nearly drained him dry. That's not a story we haven't heard before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
talk about
and
it.
So, and so smart guy like Otis, he wouldn't make bad investment decisions. But maybe his family, who he did see coming, was the red flag he should have saw coming.
Mm-hmm.
That's Otis's background that you'll start to get into later on. And so his level of trust is at an all-time low, because who else do you trust if you can't trust your family?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then also, when you realize that, oh, you're retired NFL, you know, another reader brought to my attention, was like, well, that's probably why he feels the way he does or does what he does. He's used to being traded, or the idea of being traded, or the idea of competing against other people who are just as, you know, Olympian as he is. And so now, you know, you realize, well, Otis this isn't his first time being in an environment such as this necessarily. He's been around egos. He's been around people who can move their body in a way that most people can't. So that's not new to him. And so you just start to unpack that bag. So Otis's right is a depiction of Aoife, if I were to give it a face. Again, Aoife is an artificial intelligence. And I wanted to give her a face that suggests wisdom, but also ambiguity, because it's not a woman. It's whoever created Aoife. You realize that whoever this woman is, or depicted as, there must be a tie to her creator. But again, that's much later down the line. Are there any questions regarding Otis and Aoife?
It's a little bit like Isis. Reminds me of Isis, Egyptian mythology.